universe.
Welcome to magAMedia Podcast. I am at Lazy Meatball, aka Melissa, and I'm here today with Rob J. Harper, conservative black cowboy,
sons and daughters into
political and lifestyle blogger. Follow him on his website, rjharper1.com.
Sets the mission.
Follow his articles on magAMedia.org. Rob JH1. Conservative Rob. Welcome, Rob. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I am a blogger. I'm a blogger for the past 10 years. I tweet. I also have a social media page myself, rjharper.com, YouTube as well. And for the most part, I want to get out there this information that the Democratic Party and the liberals are putting out there about our president, Donald Trump, and just about also the black community and where the black community stands. I know there was a movement that's saying that, BLEXIT, to get off the Democratic plantation, and I think that's so important because we don't have a lot of black conservative voices that are out there, and the ones that are there, the liberal media does a fantastic job keeping those voices suppressed. So I'm a voice, Candace always is a voice, and there are a lot of others that are out there that are trying to raise awareness as to we're here and we're here to stay.
Right, that's a great message. And it's so true. It's when you look at this stuff, I mean, I'm white, you're black. If you look at our pictures, it's obvious, right? But when you look at this stuff, when you see the Democrats and their policies, and you see all these black people, minorities, etc., rallying behind them, what goes through your mind? Because what goes through my mind is these people are crazy. This party has done absolutely nothing for them for the last couple decades. I mean, I can't remember when the last time anyone's had any good thing come out of the Democrats.
Well, that's a good question. And I've been traveling. I've been asking a lot of my associates and family members who happen to be Democrat, what is it about the party that has you there? Even myself, at one point, I was part of that same groupthink party. I think what it is that overall, looking back in history, it seems as though the Democratic president or Democratic Party has been the party that has been receptive to blacks and have brought them in. Never mind the fact that they started Jim Crow laws. Never mind the fact that they were the ones who wanted slavery. Okay, but when we look at it, Kennedy was trying to help us out, although he didn't do much. So there's a comfort level with the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. That being said, no one ever looked at the Republican Party because if you look at it, for the past couple of elections, when the media and other people say the Republicans are racist, Republicans don't say anything. They sit back and they let that lie fester. They don't defend themselves. Whereas with Donald Trump, if you say he's a racist, he's going to come back at you.
Yeah.
So he's fighting back and saying, no, I'm not a racist simply because I am bringing up issues in the black community does not make me a racist. Look at the situation that's taking place now with Elijah Cummings, Baltimore, 2015. What did Bernie Sanders say? Baltimore is a mess. Even the former mayor of Baltimore, Mayor Pugh, who happens to be a woman of color, said the exact same thing, that it was rodent infested, that you could smell the rats. So why is it when Donald Trump says, hey, Baltimore's messed up, all of a sudden it becomes racist?
Yeah.
Is it that white people can't criticize the problems that are taking place in the black community?
I don't get it, because anybody with eyes can see that. That's like the same thing as if you go to San Francisco and you see all the bums. Yeah, it's a mess. There's nothing racist about it. It's just a fact. It is what it is. Yeah.
But saying something about it from the black community, we want to say, oh, well, he's a racist when he came out against the squad, clearly women of color, who apparently care nothing about the United States, especially Omar, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib. Those are two women that, in my opinion, should have never been elected to Congress. And it's going to keep happening if people don't wake up. That being said, I am not saying that Muslims should be in Congress. But radical Muslims, which these women clearly ascribe to, they should not be there. And there are some Muslims that are out there that are speaking out against them. But you know what? Their voices are silent, just like black conservatives. Our voices aren't being heard because they want to perpetuate that lie that, oh my God, white people don't like Muslims and they're afraid of them. Well, I would be afraid of them also if there are radicals like Omar and Tlaib. They're two radical women. And then you have this lady, Ayanna Pressley. I mean, it's the perfect storm in that they're at the front and you're assuming that Donald Trump can't attack them because they're women of color. You're wrong. If you're wrong on the issues, he's going to come after you no matter what color you are, no matter what gender, sexuality, ethnicity. He's equal opportunity. He's going to come out there. And rightfully so. But Republicans don't do it. They allow this stuff to fester. And what happens? It starts to grow. And then blacks take a step back and say, oh, well, maybe they are racist. Which is so far from the truth.
Right. I mean, Donald Trump, for instance, he won the Ellis Island Award. He was given it by Jesse Jackson. I mean, if he was racist, usually people are racist for the rest of their lives, from the beginning of their lives. I mean, what's changed all of a sudden in Donald Trump's life that he's all of a sudden this big racist? I don't get.
That's another great question. Not to cut you off, like you said, what's changed? Yeah. What's changed is that he is upsetting the apple cart.
There you go.
The left and the right. Because the right wants to continue along the lines of maybe we are racist, maybe we aren't. You'll have to decide. You can't win elections that way. We're in a different time now, and you have to come out and say what you mean and mean what you say. And that's what I like about him, because he is not allowing them to say he's a racist. Look at George W. Bush. Great guy, but he was too soft. And when people would come out and say he's a racist, he never said it.
Yeah.
But when you look at his record, look at the funding that he did for AIDS in Africa. If he was a racist, he wouldn't have done any of that. You know, there are things that Republicans are doing that it's like, well, we're going to do it, but we're not going to say anything. It's like, why? You need to let people know where you stand. Democrats haven't done diddly squat. Barack Obama in office for 2 terms, 2 black attorney generals. Why is it, may I ask, that we had all this violence between the police and the black community with 2 black attorney generals? Why didn't the black attorney generals come out and say, hey, we need to look at this and see what's going on? But it didn't happen. It did not happen. Where did Barack Obama take the black people? Now, he's president for all. He's a president for all, but what did he do in the black community? He didn't get down the unemployment rate. He didn't start the community reinvestment that Donald Trump has done. He didn't do the second chance to keep blacks out of prison, and when they go to prison, that they don't go there for these long years. Where is that? Where's the consideration? Why aren't the black leaders like Al Sharpton coming out and saying, wow, this guy is not only talking the talk, but he's also walking? Where is it?
Yeah, I remember very vividly when Obama was president and all of a sudden there was this knowledge of race. It all of a sudden appeared, its ugly head, and all of a sudden you were made very aware that we were different colors. And I remember him being silent when they were writing, and he wasn't saying, hey, people, calm down. This isn't a racial issue, stuff like that. He didn't say anything like that. He just let it fester. He grew it in the society. And I remember very specifically, and I remember talking with my friends about it, saying, what the heck just happened?
Right. Well, he won't stop, because if he stops, he loses the attention of the black leaders who make money, like Al Sharpton. Look at Al Sharpton. He's a minister. He doesn't have a church, but he's a millionaire. Look at Jesse Jackson.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that at some point in time these guys didn't have a place in society. And Al Sharpton, no, never. He never did anything good, in my opinion. But I think that the time that these guys are looking at, and that they're trying to keep us in, you know, whereby we're marching constantly, those days are over. And it's time that we wake up and get with the program. But they refuse to let the black people think for themselves, because the moment you do, you're a label. Remember Ayanna Pressley? She said that we don't have time for you if you're black and you're not thinking the same way we're thinking.
Right.
If you're Muslim, you're not thinking the same way. If you're gay, if you're queer, you're not thinking the same way. So what are you saying? That if a black person doesn't share your political agenda of liberalism, they're not black? If a queer person doesn't share your political agenda of queerness, they're not queer? So these are the signs that they're saying, but the the liberal media, they're not calling them out. They're letting it just go on. They say absolutely nothing. I was watching CNN, and they're all over this Elijah Cummings thing. And Donald Trump is a racist. I'm thinking, are you serious? You're actually going to sit on TV and say that the president of the United States is a racist? Well, if he's a racist, why do you constantly want these people coming across the border?
Yeah.
He's such a racist.
Right, right.
They can't answer it.
Right. That's like the Nancy Pelosi crumbs thing. It's these people are just so out of touch. I mean, yeah, those are crumbs, but they're worth a lot to a lot of people.
Right.
You know, they're just out of touch with society completely.
Yep. And they're hoping that people don't see through it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't wake up, and they don't realize the fact that, wait a minute, you know, this guy is doing more than Barack Obama. And that's another fear, I think, that if Donald Trump, well, not if, but he is succeeding, that Barack Obama will become a footnote in history.
Right.
And rightfully so. He should, because what did he do?
Yeah.
That's so significant. And then, just segueing off to the First Ladies, I think it is a disgrace that Michelle Obama has not come out and said, hey, okay, I was a First Lady. I know how difficult it is, but these fashion magazines, you should cover her also. It's as if though she's afraid and she's jealous. She is a mean girl. I never read her book. I read excerpts of her book, and from just reading what she had written, the excerpts, she's a mean girl.
Yeah.
She is truly a mean girl, and she's jealous of Melania, because if she steps aside and let Melania take full stage, people will forget about her, and they will see her ugliness and her nastiness. I mean, she had to grow on me. Initially, I didn't like her because I thought she was too hardcore. No, eventually I'm like, okay, maybe she's okay. But after she left the White House, she made that comment on Ellen about Michelle giving her a gift. And she's like, what do I do with this? It's like, lady, you did the same thing when you met Laura Bush for the first time. But what did Laura Bush do? She had the integrity, she was decent, and she had the class to call Michelle and say, hey, Michelle, it's going to be difficult, but don't worry about it because I know you're not saying anything negative about me. Has Michelle reciprocated that to Melania? Heck no. And she's not going to.
Right.
She's not going to. I mean, this whole, I mean, our eyes have been opened as to who these people actually are. And I'm just glad that magAMedia has a platform so that there are other places other than Fox News that we can get the news and we can see that, hey, they're not showing us the truth. They're being biased. There's another media platform out there that we can go to and we can look at, we can read, and we can see interviews that are being conducted on podcasts that will tell us, hey, what you're seeing, don't believe it because it's not true.
You know, and then going back to that, too, the First Lady thing, it's, you know, I was a teenage girl once, and I do remember, I would read Vogue and Cosmo. My favorite was Bazaar, and, you know, there's all the covers, and some of them were just fantastic photos, and you just idolize these women as a teenager, you know, and to see someone so beautiful like Melania with such a great heart. I mean, she does so much for children. She does so much for, you know, awareness of the opioid crisis and stuff like that. I mean, she is a busy woman, and she definitely deserves to be on those covers. I mean, she is beautiful inside and out, and she deserves the same respect that we've given all the other First Ladies. I just don't get it. They would, you know, just like everything else, we call the Trump curse, but, you know, like everything else, if they did put her on the cover, they would sell 1 billion copies.
Right, because again, they're jealous of her. They're jealous that if they do it, that people will stop looking at Michelle. And there's room for everyone. And if anyone should know that, it should be Michelle. She knows how difficult it was being the First Lady. It's like, why not just give up some of that space? But she and Barack Obama, what do? They like to jet set around the world, claiming to be these, like, famous people because we were the first. Okay, great. Bravo. I clap my hands. There's a first black president. I'm black. I appreciate that. But at the same time, I'm not ignorant to the fact of what did you do?
Right.
And his daughter even said it, and I don't think a lot of people remember it. When they were elected, the first night in the White House, they went to the Lincoln Memorial, and I think it was the older daughter, Malia, and they went to the Lincoln Memorial, and there was a conversation along the brings up, she said, wow, you're the first black president. I think she was all of probably 13, still a teenager, preteen. And he said, yes, I'm the first black president. And she said, well, you better be good. And you think about that, it's like, wow, that's like so telling, but I guess he forgot about it. And truth be told, when you really look at his record, he was one of the worst presidents. Yes, they say he stabilized the economy. He kept it even. It didn't grow. Just kept it even, you know. So it's like, what else did you do? Show me, what did you do? Yeah, there were some little small things. Some people will say, well, he gave us health care. He gave us health care for all, but at the same time, the premiums went up. And while people can say, well, I do have health care, people that didn't have it, they have it now. But what about the people whose premiums went up?
Right.
Okay, he could have made it better. And at the same time, when he rolled it out, I think the Secretary of Health was Kathleen Sebelius. It was a complete disaster for the rollout. He had to have Bill Clinton to come out and sell it. So now they want to create this facade that it was such a great administration and people got along. And I'm like, wait a minute, what about the Salehis, how they bomb rushed the White House dinner? Okay, what about Tony Rezko, you know, who went to jail for all his campaign contributions? It's like, so, and Fast and Furious. So you guys are in denial to say, oh, there was no scandal. There was scandal after scandal. But what happened is that in media, and if you notice this, the media, who were at one point part of his administration, look at CNN.
Right.
All these anchors, Jim Sciutto was in his administration. MSNBC, folks were in his administration. So, of course, they have a vested interest to make certain that Barack Obama goes down in history as being this, like, oh, this transformative guy, but he wasn't. And we can handle that. Black people can handle that. They had the first black president. He was there. He got it for 8 years. He did what he could do. But now there's a new president who's taken the mantle, and he's really knocking the hell out of it by doing things for blacks that previous Democrats talked about, but he's doing it. Unemployment. Okay. So all these things that are there, I'm like, people, we need to take you might not like Donald Trump and the way he talks. Sometimes I cringe, but I'm looking at what the man is doing. And I'm telling you, he's knocking it out of the ballpark.
Right. And see, that's something that Andrew and I talk about a lot. I mean, we're obviously Republicans, but we do have a certain respect for someone like Bill Clinton, for instance, who did pay down the national debt by quite a bit. I mean, he's a Democrat, but we're not stymied by that. You know, I mean,
because you're looking at what the person did.
Yeah.
You're giving them credit.
Exactly. I mean, that's a big feat. I mean, that's a huge feat of something to do. You know, the economy was booming. It literally was booming. And you know, Hillary should have ran on Bill. You know what I mean? Yeah. She should have run on her husband's accomplishments. She would have done a lot better in the polls, honestly.
Well, one of the things I'll say that in 2008, when Barack Obama was running for president, I always felt that it should have been her, not him. Like, what did he know? But when you think, just again connecting the dots with all this, when she did run in 2008, if you recall, blacks were divided as to, do we support her or do we support Barack Obama?
Right.
And when it got so tight, when they had the, I think it was the primaries in North Carolina, all at once, Bill Clinton became a racist because he made the comment that, you know, this is a fairy tale. Do you actually think that you will get so many votes? He just made a comment. But
right.
Jesse Jackson and all these other guys came out and said, and Clyde Claiborne came out and said, the Clintons are racist. It's like, wait a minute. They're racist? You guys said that Bill Clinton was the first black president.
Right.
All at once, he's running against Barack Obama. He has to be a racist. So when I hear the media or anyone on the Democrat side saying this person's a racist, I pay no attention to it. I feel the need to defend and say, hey, you guys are lying. But they throw that word around so much so that, you know, it's lost its poignancy.
It has. It doesn't even mean anything anymore.
Everything is about race. Right.
Yeah.
Like, everything is about race. Come on, folks.
Yeah.
Maybe you just don't like the person because of the person's policy.
Exactly.
A white person can dislike Barack Obama because of his policies. Doesn't make them a racist.
Right.
But,
and, Pelosi and Biden are called racist repeatedly. Recently.
Yep, exactly.
What about that? Pelosi. I mean, all of a sudden, there's some, what do you call it? Some friction in Congress between the squad and Pelosi, and all of a sudden now, Pelosi's racist.
Yep.
But she hasn't been this whole other time.
What did Donald Trump come out and do? He came out and said, I know her.
Yeah.
I doubt seriously that she's a racist. And he has not backed down from that because he knows how they're throwing that term around. Look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden, all at once during the debate, he became a racist.
Right?
I'm like, he was Barack Obama's number 2 for 2 terms. How did he become a racist?
Right. And you have this thing, and it's really funny that you said that about Donald Trump, because Pelosi has been one of the thorns in his side throughout this whole administration. And the fact that he came out and backed her up says a lot about his character.
I was shocked.
I know.
But it does. It says a lot about his character for him to come out and say, I know her and she is not a racist. And I even tweeted about it, and she said absolutely nothing. I'm like, I would have come on and said, thank you, Mr. President, but she's people think that she's this powerful woman. I don't think she is. I think she's weak. I think the only reason why she's there is so that she can go down in history as being the longest serving Speaker of the House who happened to be a female. Because if you think back in history, there was a black woman, Fudge, from, I think Ohio, who was going to run for Speaker of the House. And they got to her and said, no, you can't do it. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought the Democrat Party was about diversity. So why can't this black woman run for Speaker of the House? Well, needless to say, she didn't get it. And the Pelosi got it because they're trying to protect her history. They're trying to protect what she's done so that she can go down as being a powerful Speaker of the House, when in actuality, she's weak. If she can't get the squad under control, and if they're getting more publicity than her, there is a problem. And I don't care how many times the media says, oh, no, but she's got this under control. She does not. You guys are saying this because you want us to think that. But we see through it. It's not under control. They're running over her left and right. It's like they say they're eating their own. Right, exactly. They're eating their own. But they want us to think that, oh, no, she has control of this, and she's doing this, and she's like, yeah, right, whatever. She doesn't have control of it, not in the least bit. I'm just reading your more recent tweet about that, Patriots, about the Al Sharpton thing. America must be reminded that this guy was and is a race baiter. He is, and he has been. He is like, when you look at his past actions, he is one of the worst racists I've ever seen in action. Yeah, he is. For them to give him a platform to spew his hate. I mean, it's interesting how he was able to, he was rehabilitated himself and transformed himself to being this, like, commentator pundit on MSNBC, which he failed at, but how they welcomed him in, and he's saying all this stuff, and he's trying to look like he has all this integrity, and he's wearing these expensive suits. Where he gets the money from, that's quiet. We don't know, but we all know that he's shaking down corporate America to get money. But otherwise he's going to Baltimore because he has to defend the integrity of Elijah Cummings, because how dare President Trump spews hate toward him. It's like, dude, Baltimore, West Baltimore, let's be honest, is a shithole. The only way you can correct it is just being frank and just saying it is what it is. We need to correct it. And one of the things I always say to liberals and blacks who dislike Trump, I'm like, okay, he has a big ego, but why don't you put him on blast and challenge him to correct the problems in Baltimore? Just say, hey, if it's a shithole, correct it. Right. I bet you anything he would go there with his business partners and turn it around. The same thing with Chicago. Like he said, I'll come and I'll fix it if you guys want me to. But what if they all say, no, stay away? Right. Because they want these cities to remain the way they are, infested with these politicians who do nothing but enrich themselves off of the backs of black and brown people. But I'm like, challenge him. Tell Mr. Trump, tell President Trump, come here and fix it. And he would do it. But they're afraid to do that. So what does Shotgun do? Well, he's going to go to Baltimore, and he's going to do, what does he know best? I'm going to march. Then I'm going to challenge these companies to come here and do this. In other words, I want you to give me money, and then I'll go away. It's like it's the same thing over and over again.
It is the same thing over and over again. It's like we were just looking at some pictures of Baltimore, and do you remember? Everybody remembers the Ferguson shooting, and the riots. And, I mean, that's when, I think, honestly, that's when it all kind of crumbled around us, race-wise. They just made a big stink about it. I remember being in Berkeley, and there was a huge riot there, too, in Oakland, you know what I mean? And they shut down the freeways, they set everything on fire, they broke into ATMs. I mean, it was just, it was a little bit worse than the Milo incident at UC Berkeley. But, that's when it really went down. And I mean, their city is a shambles. It's in a shambles.
It is. And one of the other things that I tell people to look at, as far as Baltimore, where they're saying, no, Donald Trump is just saying this. It's like, remember the drama series on HBO, The Wire?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think The Wire was about? It was about the drug-infested Baltimore. Like, so, folks, here you have it right here. He's not lying. He's telling you the truth. This is what's happening. But people, they don't want to accept the truth. They'd rather call it out and say that it's racism and it's this and it's that, as opposed to just accepting.
Right.
Hey, we've got a problem here.
And speaking to that, I mean, when you have, and here's the other thing, you know, this is something that Barack Obama could have stopped right in their tracks, with the whole police brutality, police shootings. He did not back our police whatsoever, at all. He allowed that to just fester, saying, you know, blacks are disproportionately killed versus whites. And I'm like, well, it's not necessarily the case. It really isn't. It's just, number one, the white killings don't get publicized because it's not a big story. We don't back ourselves up. Yeah. We just don't back ourselves up either. I mean you hear it about all the time, just in a blip. But when it's a black person being killed, well, it's going to happen. You've got somebody with a gun who's trying to enforce the law. It's going to happen every once in a while. It's just a case, you know, it's just a fact.
Yep.
But it's not a disproportionate thing. It's you know, there's more whites in America than blacks. But the fact is that blacks do commit more crimes.
And to say that, people find it offensive.
They do.
It's not offensive. In order to address the problem, in order to correct the problem, you have to address the
exactly.
problem. Blacks make up 12% of the population. And at a disproportionate amount, blacks are killing each other. Look at Chicago. Look at Baltimore. Look at Cincinnati. These are facts.
Yeah.
Indisputable facts. You might not like it. You know, yes, they'll say, well, white people killing each other also. Yeah, they are. But the proportionate numbers is far greater in the black community. And if we accept it and address it, it can get better.
It can.
But it's a truth that people don't like. And if you say it as, oh, you're being a racist, it's like, no, we're kind of speaking the truth. And we need to speak the truth to correct the problem.
To solve any problem, you need to realize what the problem is.
Right.
Exactly. And another just kind of crazy statistic we just saw, actually, we're pulling up some numbers here. The Hispanic prison population is growing, rapidly growing. They're about 50% of the amount of inmates are, blacks are about 4.7, and the Hispanic is 1.8, so it's almost half. It's a huge number.
And it's going to continue to grow because right now the Hispanic community is the largest minority.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going into these sanctuary cities, places whereby there aren't jobs. So naturally, there aren't jobs. People are going to get frustrated. They start acting out.
Yes.
And what happens? There's a fight.
Yes.
And then there's guns. So again, you have the Democrats, once again, they're creating another class of people that they want to become dependent upon them.
And that's exactly
jobs.
it.
They just say, hey, don't listen to the Republicans. They're bad. Keep the jobs out of town. Look at ACOG. She didn't want jobs coming to New York. I mean, it wasn't the best deal, Amazon, but it would have brought in jobs.
And those were high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
Those were high-paying jobs. I remember hearing her, she was like, oh, yeah, I'm doing such a great job. I'm paying all my people $15 an hour. And I'm thinking to myself, $15 an hour in New York is a freaking joke.
Right.
You need to make 27 in San Francisco just to survive. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you're like a congresswoman and you're only paying them 15? That's sad. That's minimum wage in a lot of places now. Yep. I don't see how that helps anyone. But that is exactly what they're doing. They're fostering that atmosphere of keeping them down. Keeping them down. There's no jobs.
Dependent upon us. And we will tell you, keep them down, dependent upon us. And we will tell you every election cycle, don't vote for the Republicans because they're not going to do anything for you. But we're going to do something for you. What are you going to do other than talk and tell me what you're going to do, but you don't do it?
Right.
It's like, again, Donald Trump is doing the talk and he's walking the walk. That's what I would prefer, someone who's going to actually do it.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. I mean, they can promise you everything. It's just whether or not they're actually going to do it.
Exactly. Promise you the world. And that's what has been happening in every election when you think about it. Mm-hmm. All these politicians have been beholden people that have given them money. They made promises and saying we're going to do this and we're going to do that, but as far as actually doing it, they never did. Now you have Donald Trump who comes along. Within the first 2 years, look at the changes that he's made.
Yeah.
I mean, they said the stock market was going to crash and we're going to go into a recession and we're going to be in war with North Korea. We're going to be in war with Iran. None of that has happened. His first 2 years, history tells us that presidents, during their first term, they do absolutely nothing because they want to be elected for a second term. But this guy is like, he left the gate running and changed
Right.
things.
When I
can't believe it.
I know, right? When I read his open statement to the people, his promise, right before he was elected, like what he was going to do and stuff, I was just like, wow, this guy is a breath of fresh air. I was not political until Donald Trump came along at all. Right. And he just totally changed my view on life. I was like, wow, things can get better.
Right. And he's showing us that you can do it. You can do it. And these other politicians have the power to do it, but they didn't want to do it. But now we have a person who's doing it, and they don't like it.
They don't.
Afraid of it.
They don't like it. And, you know, you hear this, I mean, going back to that about they're all beholden to people. Like, for instance, the Hillary Clintons of the world with the pay-to-play. You scratch my back, I don't do anything. Or I give you a special deal, or whatever it is, right? I mean, people keep asking, oh, how does so-and-so have so much money when they only make $100,000 a year? Well, that's how. They take bribes. They do speeches for $500,000, and all of a sudden something gets passed or it doesn't.
Yep.
You know, it's just
exactly what happens.
It's absolutely horrible. And, you know, what's funny is it's completely legal. And it's not too funny, but, I mean, that's something that really definitely needs to change. But, I mean...
Yeah, but like you said, when you look at it, it's completely legal, and no one says anything about it until the Republican does it, and then all hell breaks loose. And what do Republicans do? They sit on their hands, and they don't say anything as opposed to coming out and saying, wait a minute, you do know that this is okay. You know, just like the whole Russian collusion. I mean, from day one, I always knew that it was a complete hoax.
Right.
A complete hoax. And one of the things that I felt that the media did a disservice to readers on was that they didn't tell them, okay, folks, you do know that this happens all the time as far as exchanging information between different people, different countries. And that's legal as long as you don't pay for it, which is what Hillary Clinton did. She paid for information from Fusion GPS. They never once explained that. Okay, so once Mueller realized, well, it wasn't Mueller, it was his team of henchmen, because we all know that Mueller knew nothing about the report. He was completely clueless.
Do you think you really didn't know who Fusion GPS or the Steele?
Yep.
I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
People were trying to say, well, he was trying to avoid. No, he didn't know. Clearly, he didn't know. And when you think back, when he gave his first press conference about the Mueller report, I mean, he was reading from a script that was probably prepared for him by his staff, and he left it at that. He stuck with the script. I mean, every so often when you're talking, you might wander off the script and say something unscripted, but this guy didn't. And when I saw him last week, I'm like, this guy is frail. And they've been saying, oh, he's this big, powerful guy. No, I saw a frail man who looked lost. He needed milk and cookies and be sent to bed. I don't think he knew anything about the report.
I
think Barr gave him a kind of a get-out-of-jail card by allowing the Justice Department to reiterate the fact that you can only talk about what's in the report, the four corners, and not go beyond that.
Right.
I think that was to save his reputation because Mueller had already said it was all he was going to do. But I think coming from the Department of Justice was almost as if he was saying, just in case they say, well, no, you can go outside of it, he's saying that you can't. But other than that, Mueller was a complete disaster.
Yeah, you know, that's good that you said that because I was like on the fence of, was he just playing stupid or did he just not know? So, yeah. Because I was rather surprised. I was like, this whole report then that took how long and how much money? I mean, it could have been ended within 2 sentences saying, yeah, the report was paid for by Hillary Clinton, so let's investigate that instead. End of story. End of story. But then you still have people, I see this all the time, I'm sure you do, Russian bot, Putin, Russia. They're always continuously talking about that. It's so ingrained in their system now.
Because they have nothing else to talk about. And I think that for these guys, they feel that if we keep saying Russia is a threat, people will believe it. I mean, Russia's economy, I think, is the size of, gosh, I don't think it's not even the size of New York. And for us to give, I mean, Russia is winning this battle because we're making it seem as if they're powerful. They're not.
Right.
It's like, they're doing some things that they shouldn't do, and so are other countries. All these countries are trying to infiltrate our election system. That's what countries do. There's nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
Barack Obama knew about it. He did absolutely nothing. But that's a different story. So Russia, by them saying Russia can do this and Russia can do that, it's like, folks, come on. You're looking at Russia, and China is all up in our stuff.
Right.
All kinds of things. It's like, wake up. And Donald Trump called it. And what's interesting is that if you go look at a YouTube video from Donald Trump in 1983, what he's saying now, he said then. He pointed out all the problems with China, what we would have, because China, we have to prop China up because China was going down. We propped them up. So for the past 30 plus years, they've been able to just like get away with murder, take all of our jobs, take our jobs, take our products, steal our intellectual property. And what do we get from it? Absolutely nothing. And what are Democrats and Republicans saying? Oh, don't mess with China. Let's be kind to China. Really?
Yeah.
I think I'd rather like what Donald Trump is saying. We're going to put tariffs on you, and if you don't get yourself together, this is what we're going to do. But what is China doing? They're sitting there waiting in the wings because you probably have Joe Biden and John Kerry telling them, hey, wait a minute. He's not going to have a second term. So just play along with him. And then once he's out of office, it'll be business as usual. And to me, I think that's treason. You should be going in cahoots with foreign powers. Okay, Donald Trump is doing the right thing by telling China, hey, China, we're on to you. This has got to stop. Look at what he did with Mexico. That free trade agreement he put out the window because it was a disaster.
It's all a disaster. All those deals that Obama made, absolute disaster.
But these guys are afraid. They're afraid to say it for whatever reason. But I'm glad that Donald Trump is calling all this stuff out because if we don't, we'll all be speaking Chinese before long.
Yeah, and the Paris and the Paris Accord agreement, same thing. It was just the wealth distribution policy. That's all it was.
That was a joke. The Paris Accord. I mean, it's like it was a social club. They did absolutely nothing. But oh no, we want the United States to be a part of it. It's like, but what do we get out of it? Nothing. And look at the UN, United Nations. Trump. Okay, you guys got to play your own share. We can't keep doing it. And I'm like, bravo, because it's so true.
Yes.
If he doesn't stand up for us, none of these other politicians, including Republicans, unfortunately rhinos, they're not going to stand up for us either.
It's like so he's our only voice. He's our only voice.
Yeah. And
literally.
The thing that's really scary, Melissa, that's really scary when you think about all this, is that let's say Trump gets a second term, and I believe he will. And I'm going to do my darndest to make certain that he gets it.
Heck yeah.
Once he's off the stage, who's going to fill those shoes?
Yeah. We think about that a lot.
And I'm not saying that Pence can't do it, but Donald Trump has created a movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just 2 terms as president. He's created a movement that we're not going to go back to where we were. We've got to move forward. But my concern is who is going to fill his shoes and keep it going, because if no one is able to do it, I mean, I fear for the country. We're going to completely crash.
Yeah, I completely feel you on that one. We talk about that all the time. Just like after this, I mean, he basically elevated the presidency to rock star status. I mean, it's like he's nonstop go, 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 do. You hear about new things he's doing every day, new people he's talking to all the time. And it's just like, it's not you put your feet up on the table and relax type job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's getting it done.
He's definitely getting it done.
And yeah, we think about that all the time, like who's going to come up after he does his 8 years, who's going to be next? Because it's going to be a hard job. A very, very hard job.
It is, because you're going to have a lot of people fighting against what he's doing and not wanting that agenda to keep going.
Mm-hmm. And like the studies, like we're just pulling up more numbers here, and you know this, we hear about it a lot, but the coverage, the news coverage of Donald Trump, 91% negative.
Yep.
And that's kind of my only... on the news outlets, it's 93% at CNN, 93% at NBC, CBS, 91, New York Times, 87. I mean, it just goes on and on. European news outlets, even 98%. But then you have these little small cells within the population that happen to read real news or watch real news. And so you have the Donald Trump chants in Europe. You have the Donald Trump chants in, London, Poland when he visits. I mean, they love the guy. The people that know him love him. And the people that see him in the right light love him. But that's like my worry about that is that some people have been manipulated by the mainstream news so much that maybe this time they change their mind. We can't let that happen.
Right, we can't. I mean, we've come too far, and we can't go back. Because if we go back, I mean, like I said, it's unfortunate. It would be completely unfortunate for the country. During the, thinking back, during the July 4 weekend, I went out looking for American flags because I wanted to be patriotic.
Right.
Would you believe it was so difficult to find a flag? And this is in Jersey. I couldn't find an American flag. I couldn't find any American paraphernalia. Like, what's happening with the world?
That's crazy.
Why aren't people patriotic? And then we see on TV whereby at one of the camps whereby they have these guys that are coming across the border, this Antifa guy crawls up and puts up a Mexican flag. Like, are you serious?
Wow.
And no one thought anything of it. It's like, oh, it's okay. It's like, if you hate the country that much, leave. So when Donald Trump said, leave, go back to where you came from. Oh, that's racist. I don't like that.
Yeah. That's like the Betsy Ross flag thing. I mean, there's this constant negative stigma with being American. I mean, you can't, Nike can't have shoes with Betsy Ross flags on it because Colin Kaepernick doesn't like it. I just don't get it. It's just a constant.
It's absurd. We can't be patriotic. We have to hate the country.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you like the country, people are going to label you and say, "Oh my God, you're a xenophobe, and you're this." And whereas you have all these other countries that are singing their country's praises,
right?
But we can't do it.
It's like even when you watch, if you ever watch UFC or something like that, they have their country's flag around their shoulders. It's a symbol of pride. And then you have this soccer girl, the Rapinoe. you know, and her teammates throwing the flag to the ground, and she got a lot of slack for that. Good.
And she should. Just speaking of her, I think that she's a bad example for our young girls.
She is.
She's cursing. She was cursing during the ticker parade in New York a couple of weeks ago. She was jumping on stage, behaving like a thug. And this is what I find interesting. She's doing all this stuff, you know, grabbing her crotch and like, oh yeah, and swearing and whatnot.
Showing her boobs.
And no one in the media called her out. They said, this is so unbecoming. How could she do this? Now, since the Democrats like to play racism, this is what I say. Had this been a black baller jumping around doing all that, the media would have chastised him and said, oh, how dare you? And he should lose all contracts.
Right.
But for her, they want her to get all these contracts with Nike and Adidas and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, why is it that she can do it? And if you had a black player doing it, and a black player has never done it because they know not to do it, but when they're on the football field and they're dancing around, the media, oh, they shouldn't do that. Oh, we don't like that. Like, but she can do it. Why can she do it? Because she's a lesbian?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, really?
And then she...
Yeah, I'm like, black people, wake up. Look at the double standard here. They want you to like this woman, but yet still, if it were a black baller doing it, they'd kick him to the curb.
And then the whole pay disparity that she talked about, you know, oh, equal pay. Do you remember those shirts they wore after they won? Equal pay for equal play. And I'm like thinking to myself, well, I personally, I mean, I don't follow sports in the first place, but if I did, I don't even know that we have a women's soccer team. I mean, that's how far removed it is from my mind. It's the fact that they don't bring in the people. They don't sell the many tickets. The men's team does. It's like, what was it, 6 billion to 1 or 3? I can't remember. It was a huge difference. It was a huge difference. But there is no disparity.
Well, like you said, the thing is that if they were bringing in it's all about at the end of the day, it's all about the dollar. And if the women's team was bringing in the mega bucks and filling the seats, as they say, ass in the seats, that the men are doing, okay, give them the money, but then there's something else that you have to take into consideration also. The Worldwide Soccer League, FIFA, they're not responsible for giving them this huge sum of money that they want. It's their local team sponsors that's responsible for that. So why don't you go to them and complain to them?
Exactly.
Yes, you do it, but you want all this money. I'm like, I'm all for women's rights. I think that women should make the same as men, okay, across the board. But at the same time, if you're not filling seats, you might fill some of the seats. You know, you're not going to get the advertising dollar, and they're not going to give it to you. It's like, stop creating this perception that, oh, you just don't like women to make. Men don't want women to make the same amount. It has nothing to do with it. At the end of the day, it's about the dollars.
Yeah, it's like we have some numbers pulled up here. This is where we got that 6 billion number. It's the men's World Cup in Russia generated over 6 billion in revenue with blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the women's World Cup is expected to earn 131 million for the full 4-year cycle. It's crazy. It's such a big difference. 6 billion versus 131 million. No, I don't think it should be paid the same, because then that would mean the women are getting paid more than the men, and the men should be bitching.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want it, you've got to go out and you got to prove yourself and say, hey, this is the reason why we deserve it. Other than that, it's like, you know, go away.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Come on.
And actually, I mean, the women, as it stands, are making more than the men, because they get like 13%, and the men get like 9% of the proceeds, revenue, whatever. So, I mean, the fact that they say that they're being chastised because they're women or discriminated against, it's a nonplussed issue.
Yep.
Absolutely makes no sense.
It's the media trying to spin it and create problems and say, oh, well, this is, they don't like women and women can't do this. It's like, come on, folks. Yeah, there are some discrimination that takes place, but at the level that you guys are pushing that,
yeah, I don't get it.
It's not so. And the only thing you're trying to do is to create division between the sexes, the genders, and the races, whereas we're all the same, and we should just look and say, wait, there's a problem here. Let's fix it.
And they just keep pushing it. I mean, I did work in tech. I did experience a little bit of sexism, But I mean, that's what happens when you got a lot of horny nerds around. You know what I mean?
well, like you said, as we both said, we're not saying that it does not exist. It does exist, okay? And it exists at different levels. But to try and put everything in the same bucket
exactly
makes no sense.
Exactly. It doesn't. I mean, I up until that point, until that experience, no issues whatsoever my whole entire life, and I worked my whole entire life. You know what I mean? It just, it's a non-issue. As a woman, I don't find a problem. We have the right to vote. That's what we wanted, and we work, and, you know, if you want to take time off, you can. I don't see this issue in my daily life. It's just like the same people with, you know, I like Jesse Lee Peterson. Is that his name? Jesse Lee Peterson. Yeah. We listen to him all the time, and it's just, we love hearing him talk because it's true. He just asks the question. Yeah, he had the Black Lives Matter representatives on there, one girl, one boy, and he said, how have you been discriminated against? And they couldn't think of anything.
Right.
They literally just couldn't think of anything. It's just the same thing. Like, how have you been discriminated because you're a woman? I would love to hear it because I've never experienced it.
Right.
You know?
But, you know, what they do is they perpetrate this lie, and they tell people, yes, this is happening to you, when in actuality, it isn't happening.
Right.
It's not happening at all. But people will start to think it, and, oh, yeah, this is something. No, it's not happening. It is not happening at all. Like, wake up.
It isn't. I think it just goes back to that. They just get, it's just, Nancy, I think she said it once, Nancy Pelosi, about telling the same lie over and over. Eventually you'll believe it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing.
It's been 2 years of lies.
Yep.
You could probably go back a little further than that, actually, but...
Oh, yeah. They say it over and over again, and people will believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking, oh, this is actually happening. This is actually, when in actuality, it's not happening. But no one wants to just take a stop and just like really think about it. And that's the reason why I'm glad that we have platforms, outlets like magAMedia.com, whereby people can look and say, wait, there's something else out there that they're not telling me. As a former journalist, I always tell people, don't listen to what they're telling you. Think about what they're not telling you. Going back to Baltimore, they're saying that Baltimore, President Trump called Baltimore out. Then it's like, okay, let's think about it. Why would he say this? Let's find out what's happening in Baltimore. And then you find out that the former mayor said that, oh, it smells like rats in here. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you look at how long has Cummings been in office, 20 plus years. Why haven't things changed?
Right.
Why do we still have these areas that aren't up to par? Now, truth be told, no matter where you go, you're going to find little pockets whereby things aren't the way they should be. But to have an entire district that way, after having a black president for 2 terms with 2 black attorney generals, it's like, there is a problem here. If you're still telling black people, we're going to put you here when you had a black president for 2 years and you aren't near here yet, there is a problem. And those are the questions that people should be asking. Why is it that every time Donald Trump says something, he's criticizing, you guys say that it's racism? And if it's racism, why do we want more people to come here? Why is it that we never talk about the positive things that he has done? It's like, ask the questions. Don't just sit there and let them tell you, we want to tell you this, and this is what you should believe. There is a problem here. It's a systemic problem. And when you have anchors, they call themselves anchors or journalists on CNN who happen to work in the Obama administration, and you have them who are out calling the president racist and have nothing to back it up other than to scare black people and say, oh, they don't like you. It's like, why? You're telling me he doesn't like me, but look at what he's done. Barack Obama didn't do it.
Right. I mean,
bring down unemployment for the past, it's the lowest it's been in the past.
Yeah, he's been working like a boss.
50 years.
Yeah, he's been working like a boss. Like we were thinking, you know, you have these districts like Nancy Pelosi's district. We just went there and it was absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. You know, poop on the ground, pee on the ground, needles, drugs. I mean, it got worse the closer you got to Market Street, which is the Twitter building. It's absolutely horrible. But, I mean, as a president, you're running a country. If it's not true, why would you say something like that? You wouldn't want to say something like that because that's your country.
Right. And again, let's say that, okay, well, he's telling a lie. Okay, then let's look at the history. Mm-hmm. Let's Google it. And let's see, is this a lie or is it true? Only to find find out that what he's saying is the truth. And people can't deal with the truth. They can't accept it.
Right. I mean, we saw so many tents and so many encampments. And, I mean, we weren't even in the bad places. I mean, we weren't. We didn't even go there. I mean, we went down a couple bad roads. Like, one started with an L, I can't remember. And it was, like, right across from our hotel. But, I mean, one of the roads we went down, I was really sketched out. I mean, you could tell we didn't belong there. Everybody was staring at us. I mean, there had to be like 80 people on each side of the road just staring us down. And I was like, oh my gosh, we were just walking as fast as we could. Literally just walking as fast as we could to get out of there. Because I was like, I think this is probably where people go to buy anything they need. And yeah, it was scary. It was literally scary. And it was just like people are living their lives like this. This is all they do.
And that's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate because when it's called out, no one wants to believe it.
Yeah. And I had said that because Andrew had never seen anything like that. And I'm like, trust me, it's bad. It's bad in San Francisco. Because he went to Seattle with me. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I was like, oh man, wait till you see San Francisco. You won't believe that. That'll be even worse. Because I didn't think it was bad in Seattle. You know, it wasn't too bad. I mean, but it is. We didn't go to any bad places in Seattle. It's even worse than it used to be. But I mean, they've got the bad places, the bad parts of town in Oregon too, in Portland. It's just like all these liberal cities are just getting out of control with the rampant.
Out of control, right? And look at who's over the liberal cities. Democrat.
Exactly.
Democrats. Yes, there are some cities whereby Republicans you're not the best, but a lot of the major cities are controlled by Democrats.
Yep.
Like mayors and governors. And they're doing nothing but telling the people there the same story over and over again. Give us another chance and we'll correct this. Give us another chance. You've had your chances and you haven't corrected.
Mm-hmm.
Look at our president. He had the House is Democrat, yet he's still getting his agenda through, and people don't understand it. He's still getting his agenda through, which is great. Now, it might be through executive action, and they can come around and they can change it, but still, you would have gotten a taste as to what could be a possibility if we were to go and think the way he's thinking and see things the way he's seeing things.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen. So when people say it can't happen, it's like, oh, but it can happen. It can happen, and we can make it happen.
See, and then you think about it, too, just like... Because Trump alluded to this in one of his speeches. I think that has something to do with not allowing federal funds to be used for sanctuary cities who obviously are breaking our laws and stuff like that. But he did mention that they don't report the crimes. And it just goes back to they don't report the crimes because the property taxes would go down so much. The crime rate would just skyrocket, and they wouldn't get as much taxes from all these businesses. And that's just a case. That's just a fact.
Well, that's another thing, not reporting the crime, like, say, the black people and brown people that are here. It's like, think about it. If you commit a crime, they're going to haul you out to jail. And they'll probably forget about you. Whereas if these illegal aliens, and they're not illegal immigrants, they're illegal
exactly.
aliens that are coming here uninvited, and if they commit a crime, the police will say, okay, put them in jail for a day and let them out. Don't tell ICE. That's wrong.
Exactly.
It's like they committed a hideous crime, and they should pay the cost.
And people naysay that, though, just like they naysayed they don't get driver's licenses, and no, they don't vote. Yes, they do. Right. You're not seeing it because you're not over here and you don't know about it, but that's exactly what happens. The scary
thing about it, Melissa, is that if we allow them to get a driver's license and vote in local elections, you know without a doubt they will be voting in the general election as well.
Yeah.
Now, Republicans will say, oh, no, it's not going to happen. No, it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
It will happen.
I can tell you it happens. I had a roommate, and she voted.
Mm-hmm.
She was from Guatemala.
You see?
Yeah. She was from, and she bragged about it. Her and her daughters all went and voted.
Right.
Yeah. I can tell you firsthand. And exactly, and she said it was so easy. They don't even ask you for your ID because they think it's racist to ask for your ID.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely ridiculous. We're going to wind down a little bit. We've got a...
Very informative. I hope that our viewers, listeners, and readers will enjoy this commentary, because I think, Melissa, you and I we covered a whole lot of stuff that will hopefully open people's eyes as to what's actually happening out there, the real truth.
The real truth. It is the real truth. And we talk about it all the time, every day, as much as possible. Sorry for absence if you've been following us on our podcast or our site the last few days. Andrew and I have been moving, so we haven't been as active on podcast or the website, articles, what's not. But we're going to ramp that up because we got great internet. We were able to talk to Rob today all day with no issues. So we'll be doing a lot more podcasts and a lot more articles and keeping you guys connected. We're heading to the Trump rally on August 1st in Cincinnati, Ohio. Awesome. So if Rob's around, we'll get in touch with him and do a little live stream going on with that kind of thing.
Terrific.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's great to have you on again.
Take care. And make America great again.
Make America great again. Thank you.
Okay.
To all American patriots, we ask you to please support independent journalism and magAMedia.org. Go to paypal.me/magAMedia. Or you could subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/magAMedia.org, all typed out.